Testing, testing. Perfect. Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to APPF1. Hello to Rising Dragon in the chat. You a supporter of one of our drivers today? Judging by the Belgian flag, I'd say one of Muhiti, Mr. J-Man or Lil Manny Man. But welcome in, haven't seen you before. But here we go. So, those of you who tuned into the Tier 1 stream might be wondering, why isn't Tier 2 racing Spain as well? The reason for that is because Spain is now broken as of yesterday, with some invisible, horrific bumps in the last two corners, causing untold issues. And because they're so inconsistent and common, we've decided at fairly short notice that we need to change track. So here we are in France instead, because it's one of the sign-up tracks, so everyone's practiced for it. Everyone knows what they're doing. Here we are. Should still be a good season opener, hopefully, but welcome back. It's good to be back for Tier 2. You may notice that we're here on my channel this season and not Sumo's as usual. That's because you might notice him on the grid. He is racing this season. He's just started, he got his new wheel last week and he wants to get used to it faster, and he thinks the only way to do that is to race in Tier 2. So that's what he's doing. That's why he's here and not in the box with me. So wishing him the best of luck. I have no bias, of course, but I do. I want Sumo to succeed. My commentary partner, but even so. Wongfi saying heavy rain in the chat. Is that heavy rain all race long? If so, that's very interesting. But let's see, telemetry. Yep. Okie dokie. So, sound is on, good. Right, so Jack Alaco also making an appearance in Tier 2. A couple of Tier 1 drivers like Jacko and RJ, who's not here today, but having a go in Tier 2, but without the racing line, so that it's fairer, because otherwise they would just run away with the races. Lawrence has been doing this for a very, very long time in Tier 2, 4 seasons or so, 3 or 4 seasons. So he knows the deal, and I'm sure those with no line will get used to it, including our reigning champion Jonathan in the AlphaTauri. He's also going with no line. Yeah, we'll see how they can do. Obviously, with the heavy rain race, it'll be a bit harder for them, but they should get used to it fairly quickly. And honestly, it's the best practice. It is the best practice to race with in heavy rain, because it sort of makes you more careful and introduces you to no line a bit faster. It's a bit like jumping in at the deep end of a pool, really, but it's definitely good practice to start off with. But in the first race of the season, it's a little harsh. But regardless, Jack Alaco starting the first lap of this session. Down he comes towards turn 1, left-hander, which he's missed the apex of. Very easy to do with no line through turn 2. Okay through there from Jacko. Down towards turn 3, you've got to really commit to the apexes at these corners, and Jacko just getting used to the track at this point. Really easy to go wide on the exit of that corner, but Jacko hasn't done that. Nearly spins on the exit of turn 6, but he's just about okay. And now onto the long straight, DRS open all the way down towards the left-hander. Down to the 100-meter board, brakes hard. Misses the apex a bit again, but that's okay. He's just wanting to get a time on the board, I'm sure, at this point in the session. Down he goes towards the next couple corners. There's an Aston Martin behind him who must be on an outlap, because both of them are. So through the flat-out right-hander he goes, and now to this incredibly tricky corner, especially no line. It's so easy to mess it up or lose a ton of time, but Jacko's fairly solid through it at the very least. Through the final couple corners comes the Scottish driver, and down towards the last two corners now. Brakes at the 50 board, turns fairly nicely through there, and then the last corner a lot tighter than it looks, and down towards the start-finish line, DRS Open. It's going to be a 1:31.0 for the initial pace from Jacko Lacko. Who's going to be the first to beat that, I wonder? There's an Aston Martin. That must be Alex, one of the newbies, going across the start-finish line to start his first lap in APPF1. I'm wishing him the best of luck, as well as Official JE, who's in the Alpine. It's his first ever race in APP, and Wong Fei in the AlphaTauri as well, partnering Jonathan for this season. So good luck to the three of them. And Sumo doesn't really count as a newbie, but wishing him the best of luck as well for obvious reasons. Lawrence only half a tenth down on Jacko Lacko. Very, very close between the two Williams. They're the first to set lap times. Whereas the AlphaTauri of Wong Fei only 3.5 tenths down. He said he was 2 seconds off the pace. Well, that does not look like 2 seconds to me. That's a great effort from Wong Fei to start off with. Robsu on an outlap. There's a Ferrari coming across the line. Mr. J-Man's invalidated though. So what about Crozer in the McLaren? Came so close to being the Tier 2 champion last season, but just didn't quite work out for him in the end. But he's had rain at France last season, and he won the race, but this time he's P3 in qualifying, about 2 tenths behind the two Williams, who are looking very good at the moment. Next across the line is going to be Sumo Gilligan. LB goes 6 tenths faster than them. Sumo comes across the line now. He's P6, about half a second back on Wong Fei, but that's not a bad effort for him. He's still getting used to the wheel, remember, but LB right to the front. And, well, the sandbagging of the time trial times might have come clear, but Alex I'm just going to say Alex, comes across the line 9,000th of a second faster than LB, the double Tier 2 champion. So Alex, the newbie, here to set a standard. Jonathan coming across the line now in Sector 3. He comes across to set a... oh, I guess he wasn't on a lap. Okay. Official JE beats all of them, though, up to pole position. The two newbies on P1 and P2. Fantastic effort from those two. And front row for the newbies. Fantastic stuff. Jonathan coming through as well in the AlphaTauri. He's in Sector 1 at the moment. It's now transitioned to him being on an outlap. I do not know what's going on there. Mr. J-Man, though, coming across the line for his next effort, invalidated his first lap. Across the line, sets pole position of 30.3. It's exchanging very quickly right now. Everyone putting in some decent times. What about Palang in the Aston Martin? He's going to be next across the line to set a competitive lap time. Through the long right-hander he goes. He's got his teammate ahead of him who gets diligently out of the way. And down towards the final few corners comes Palang in the Aston Martin. Penultimate corner, you've got to get tight to the apex. There it is, very nice from Palang. Through the final corner, gets a lot of curb, which will cost him a little bit of time on the exit, but down towards the line he goes. There's yellow flags as well. Palang sets a 30.7, goes P5 for now. There's yellow flags everywhere. I wonder if this is Jonathan's car, because I know it's been very glitchy, seemingly. No idea what's going on. Lil Manny Man, though, starting his lap in the Red Bull. Yes, Louis, Paul Ricard, not Spain, because yesterday's update completely broke Spain. The last two corners are now completely undrivable because there are very inconsistent bumps that are invisible and will just destroy your car in the last two corners. So we had to make the decision to change tracks, but France is one of the one of the sign-up tracks, so everyone's practiced it, so that's why we've gone with it. But Manny Man coming into Sector 2 now in his Red Bull, his first lap of Season 9 of Tier 2. It's fantastic to be back and to be able to say that. Jonathan says it's not been a fun start. What's been happening, Jonathan? Let us know. It looked like you were starting a lap and then it went back to out lap, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But little Manny Man coming through Sector 3 now. What is he able to do in the Red Bull? The last couple of corners, that was tight to the apex there. That was decent stuff from the Belgian driver. Oh, just a glitch on my end. Okay, but you backed out. That's fine. You'll be fine as well, Jonathan, with the rain. Don't worry. Just start braking 50 meters earlier than you usually do. If it's heavy rain, maybe a little bit more than that. Little Manny goes P12 in the meantime. And then as the race goes on, you can start braking a bit later and later and later and get more used to it. You'll be fine. Just be careful. Especially at turn 1. Just brake not too early, but fairly early. Muhiti coming into Sector 3 now. In the Ferrari, once a title contender in Tier 2. It's not been going great, though, for the Belgian driver. As of late, the last few seasons have not been what he would have wanted. But he has had his moments last season. And signs of the old Muhiti coming back into the fray. We'll see if he can prove that again in Paul Ricard today. It's his first lap, 8 minutes to go in this qualifying session. DRS Open all the way down to the start-finish line. It's a 30.3 right to the top. And it's a Ferrari front row lockout as it stands. Brilliant laps from J-Man and Muhiti. But look how close it is. Just 0.04 of a second between the top 3. And then a 1/10.5 between the top 5. And then there's a big gap to Palang, a big gap to Jacko, who's just spun, just as I rode on board with him. Sorry about that, Jacko. But Lawrence coming through in the other Williams. We know that he's one who improves as the sessions go on. He always gets better as the evening progresses. So here he comes to the line now. Is it going to be a significant improvement for the British driver? He's coming across. It's a 31.1. It's not an improvement at all. Half a tenth down on his previous best, and he remains in P8 for now. Crows are down in P9. Wong Fi as well, starting his next effort to AlphaTauri's, getting used to no line here in Tier 2. Because if they were running Racing Line, they would be P1 and P2 right now, guarantee you. But Wong Fi coming through Sector 1 to the end of it. 0.3 down on his previous best, though. So maybe a little bit of a mess up through turns 1 and 2. Jonathan on an out lap, though. He's going out again. And official JE, one of the newbies this season, along with Alex and Wong Fi, on a lap as well. But he's messed up turns 1 and 2 quite badly there. And he's going to have to try that again. Alex, though, in the Aston Martin, he's only a couple hundredths down on his best through Sector 1. Let's see what it is at the end of Sector 2. This is coming to the sector line now. It's just in the middle of this straight. AlphaTauri, they're getting out the way, but he's about half a tenth up in Sector 2. So what can he gain in the final sector? Pole position for a newbie would be an incredible start for him. But both he and Official will be hoping for decent debuts today. And, well, at the moment, they're looking like they're going to provide them. Through the final couple of corners comes the Aston Martin driver. What's he going to be able to do here? Penultimate corner, is he going to hit the apex? He takes a bit of a different line than we saw Palang take earlier, but through the final corner, gets a bit on the throttle too early, I think, and DRS Open, but he's going to have lost time all the way down this straight. Is it going to be enough, though? It is! It's a 30.0, gains a huge amount in the final sector anyway, and Alex takes pole position now. Can the two Ferraris respond, as well as official JE, who hasn't set a decent time on that second attempt? LB, though, coming through Sector 2, he's a threat as well, as Robsu goes into P6 in the meantime. That sort of happened under our noses. Two Alfa Romeos on that third row together. LB is 4.5 tenths up in Sector 2. Look at this from the previous double champion of Tier 2. Here in APP, I think he was sandbagging with his time trial times. He has to be, because here he comes through the final sector now. There's yellow flags all across the track. I'm not sure what that's for, but 4.5 minutes to go. Still a long time to go in this quali session to improve, but it can be so tough to improve around this circuit. But LB not showing that at the moment through the final corner. He's run out of ERS though, so he's going to lose time all the way down the final straight. What's it going to be? Is it a 29? No, it's a 30.2. He lost about 2 tenths in the final sector on his previous best, but still enough for the front row for LB. 1.5 tenths away from Alex, who's currently sitting on pole. Mr. J-Man, 0.5 tenth up in Sector 1 though. He's improving. What about Official JE in Sector 2? 2 tenths up for him. So there's a lot of improvement going on here. Palang as well, coming to the final couple of corners. Look at that, a much different line than we saw Alex take just a moment ago. But you can take many different lines around that corner, and it's still okay. Palang, though, to the line. It's a 30.2, but it's in P3. Brilliant from the Canadian driver. It's an Aston Martin 1-3. What a great qualifying session. This is the start of the season. Official J heads into the pits. Wong Fei, 2 seconds off. He's struggling to improve at the moment. Lil Manny Man, though, he's on a lap 2. Jonathan's coming out the pits again. He's not having a good time. Here in Paul Ricard, it's so difficult, this track without line. It's a brutal track to start off with for a no-line career. It really is, or no-line season. Spain is much better, but yeah, we know how that turned out. Lil Manny Man, though, he's in Sector 2 at the moment. He's just improving a tiny bit in Sector 1, but can he get a lot more time in the second sector? Jonathan says he's not coming out. What on earth is going on with your car, Jonathan? What is happening to you? Manny Man in P13 at the moment. He's going to want to do better than that. He's 7 tenths off Sumo, so he needs to find a lot of time in this final sector. Your Wi-Fi is horrendous. That's not ideal. Hopefully that doesn't cause issues. That must be what the yellow flags are about, the random yellow flags. It must be your Wi-Fi. So not a great start to your season, Jonathan, unfortunately. But Lil Manny Man through the final corner, DRS open to the line. Is it going to be any better than his previous time? It's not going to be pole, but it is going to be a 31.1, and it puts him P10, and that's a lot more competitive from Lil Manny Man. He'll be happy with that. Into the top 10. Crozer on an outlap as well. He's down in P11, not historically the strongest qualifier, and his ELO ranking, ELO rating in qualifying tells you that. His race rating much higher. But he's on an outlap at the moment. He'll definitely be hoping to improve from P11. He will not be happy with that. Muhiti, though, on a lap in the Ferrari. He's coming through Sector 2 now. Down towards the sector line. Is it an improvement? No, it's not. So he's going to have to go again. And a lot of drivers going for their final runs now. Jonathan is again coming out of the pits now. And going straight across the first few corners, which is very illegal. And I think he might be in quite a lot of trouble with the stewards for that. Little Manny Man, though, he'll be happy with where he is. Muhiti just coming over to start a new lap. So here we go. Everyone's final run's about to get going. Muhiti in the Ferrari. DRS open, starting his final attempt at Paul Ricard. 45 seconds left to go in the session. There's a lot of cars piling up in Sector 3. They've got to be careful that they don't pile up too close to each other. One of the Red Bulls is in. That's Manny Man, of course, because he's not going to be able to go again. But Muhiti, through Sector 1 he comes, doesn't invalidate that. That would look very close, but right on the edge for the Belgian driver. But he's a 10.5 down despite that. So he's really pushing to try and find that time again. It's so close in this quali session. A 10th can propel you up so many positions as it stands. But Alex unchallenged at the front at the moment at 30.0. Muhiti in Sector 2. clatters across that curb, but seems okay as he comes to the next few corners. Alex didn't manage to get a lap, neither did LB or Palang. None of the top three managed to get one more run in, so it's up to everyone behind them. Muhiti in the Ferrari coming through the final sector now. Can he find anything in this final sector? There's other drivers as well, but we're going to keep on board with Muhiti as he comes through the last few corners. He's currently in P5, despite only being 2.5 tenths off. It's so close. And with official JE only 8 thousandths behind him, he might need to find an improvement here, but he's into the pits. No improvement for him. What about Jack Alacco? He's coming through the final couple of corners now. He's currently P8. He's doing a great job with no line at the moment. But through the final corner he goes. DRS open to the line. It's going to be a 30.5. Very good from Jack Alacco. Much more competitive with the top half of the field. Up to P7 for him. But Lawrence as well is probably improving in the Williams. He comes around the final corner. DRS open to the line. Someone else improved. That was Crozer to P7. Much better from him, but still only 7th. Lawrence goes to P9. Look how close these times are. Robsu coming through the final sector, but he's not improving. What about Mr. J-Man, though? DRS open. We know he can be a threat for pole on his day. Can he do it today? To the line for Mr. J-Man. No, it's P2 by 700ths of a second. And that is going to be quali over. What a session that was. Incredible. Really, really enjoyed that quali session. Jonathan's car's completely broken. I've no idea what's going on with him. But it's Alex G on pole position for his debut race in APP. Jack says he should have been P5 as well, so he's had a great effort, but the times are so close that really any small improvement can do that. I do wonder if Jonathan's car is going to break the lobby here. I hope not. I hope not, but we may have to see a lobby reset if it does, because it's going back out again. What is going on? Jonathan, what have you done? Have you broken the game? What on earth has he done? Jonathan, when you say your Wi-Fi is horrendous, what exactly do you mean? Average F123 bug, exactly. And Little Manny Man said in the chat that he just came home from work very close before the race and had no time to read. So he's driving with a Spain setup. Considering that, I think he's doing a bloody good job up there in P11. I think we might need a lobby reset because of Jonathan's car, though. Rising Dragon, a Ferrari fan for Mr. J-Man and Muhiti. They've done a great job in this quali. I think it might be lobby reset time. Yeah, it's lobby reset time. Okay. Hang on, I'm just sorting out things. Oh, Jonathan's left the session. Hang on, that's progressed things. Well, okay. I need to make some split decisions here. Okay, well, I've got all the results up here, so that's fine if we do need to do a reset. The internet's been like this for the past week. Have you contacted your internet provider? Because that's kind of unacceptable from them. Not from you, I know it's not your fault. I'm only joking in the Discord. Are you able to get back in? Or not? Or do you think it's better to not? Download speed 10. Oh, yeah, that's gonna cause issues. Okay. Okay. Okay, we might need to just carry on then. Because if your internet's that bad, I don't think a reset will help. To be honest. Is everyone in? Oh, Mannyman came back, okay. Yeah, everyone's in except Jonathan. Are you okay if we just start, Jonathan? I feel for you, but if it's internet related, then I don't think a reset would help. Like if it was a similar issue to Crozer in that you were just getting kicked from lobbies, then I would reset. But if it's an internet issue, then you might just be screwed here. You're on the joining session screen. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. I'll tell you what, mate. Restart your game, maybe even your console, and then try joining again. But for now, we'll start. Because I can't really delay this too long. Okay. Sorry, mate. All right. Well, I've told them to go. Hopefully, they get the message. Oh, okay. Time is going down. Right. So we're about to get going for the first race of the APP Tier 2 Season 9 season. What am I talking? Season 9 season. Season 9, Round 1 here in France. Let's get everything enabled here. Right, so formation lap is go. Almost everyone's starting on mediums, with Crozer, Lawrence, Robsu and Sumo all starting on the hards for this race. So on the alternate strategy, and then Jonathan's AI on the softs. That's everyone filing through Sector 1. Let's have a little helmet review. So Wong Fi. That's a very nice helmet. That's a very nice helmet. 9.5 for that one. That is good. That's a good helmet. For the newbies, official JE. That's also quite a nice helmet. I like that. That's yeah, I'll give that a 9 as well. You forgot formation lap was a thing. Yeah, no, it's happening. It's working again, so we're using it. And then Alex, our pole sitter, has the default helmet. It's a disaster. It's a 0 out of 10. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, everyone filing through. Okay, well, here we go. Everyone coming through down towards the starting grid to start this new season of APPF1 Tier 2. This is very, very exciting. We've got a debutant on pole position and Mr. J-Man alongside on the front row, LB in P3 and Palang down in P4. What's going to happen here in France? One, two, three, four, five red lights. And we're underway for the French Grand Prix. It's a great start from the pole sitter, Alex. Mr. J-Man can't pull alongside. We've got yellow flags further back. That's little Manny Man who can't get going. Unfortunately, Palang and LB side by side through turn 2. A lot of people side by side through turn 2. Everyone getting off cleanly, though, apart from Manny Man, who's finally gotten going. Sumo's round at turn 1. It's a disaster for my commentary partner. But it's Alex who leads by 7/10. Robsu gets past Crozer, who's falling positions. What's happened to Crozer? He's gone round in the first sector. Disaster for the McLaren driver to start off this race. But it's a dream start for the debutant in first place. Mr. J-Man just behind him. Jonathan's AI has gotten up to P10 on the soft tyres thanks to everyone's disconnections. But everyone filing through down towards the final sector. Alex still leads from Mr. J-Man. Everyone single file as they head through. Official JE also with a good start up to P5. Lil Manny Man's retired from the session at the back. I'm not sure what's happened to him. But we've got a VSC as a result. I wonder if he's had an issue with his wheel there. That's such a shame for him, if so. But everyone filing through. No full safety car, much to the dismay of the drivers towards the back, like Crozer and Sumo. They would have liked a safety car at this point, although they are on the hards, so perhaps not. Lap 1 VSC Classic, absolutely. Start of the season as well, who is, you know, these things happen. But we've had so many issues tonight already. It's, you know, it is what it is. It's the start of a new season. But Alex still leading the way. Is anyone going to get a drive-through? Is anyone going to be rusty enough to get a drive-through and a lap 2 VSC? Yes, they are. Both of the top two, Alex and Mr. J-Man, with drive-through penalties. So Palang is the de facto race leader now as they go down towards turn 8. Palang using the overtake down the inside he goes, but Alex and J-Man with an absolute disaster of a VSC, both getting drive-through penalties. Palang getting past J-Man, JE and LB side by side through turns 8 and 9. Can JE make the move? No, he gets too much on the curb and gets a little half spin, and is going to be vulnerable to Muhiti as a result, maybe even Jacko as well. But Muhiti's going to have the inside line here as they head down towards the fast right-hander. Who's going to come out in front? It's going to be JE. Muhiti backs out of that one, but JE is going for the attack again on LB as they go through this long right-hander. Muhiti not brave enough to send it on the inside there. But We've got to put interval on. There we go. There's JE right behind LB at this stage. Mr. J-Man got to come in for the drive-through. Alex as well comes in straight away for that drive-through penalty. Mr. J-Man staying out. That's a huge risk. You've got to take drive-throughs as early as possible. Because if a safety car comes out now, Mr. J-Man is in a very, very bad spot. But it's Palang who leads the race and sets the fastest lap initially. Alex drops all the way to the back thanks to that drive-through, but now Crozer setting the fastest lap down in P11, so he's got pace around this circuit, we know that. But can he extract it here to catch back up to the pack? It's Palang who leads, though, from Mr. J-Man. LB over a second behind the Ferrari already, and JE struggling to stay with him as they go through. Muhiti right behind the Alpine driver, but JE not getting any DRS there, thanks to just about being far enough behind LB, and Muhiti finds his way through. Up to P4 goes the Ferrari driver. And JE just behind him. Here he goes. Can he make the move on the Ferrari? He's going back again. They're going to go side by side through this corner once again, but this time it's Muhiti with the advantage, but they're still side by side on the exit. It's a great move from official JE on his first race in APPF1. They're still side by side as they go through the next corner. Fantastic racing, but it's official JE who comes out in front in the Alpine. Muhiti has a little nose on the inside, but no harm done. And Jack Alaco trying to find a way through as well. Thanks to all of this battling, is right behind the Ferrari. They're nose to tail, all three of them through this final sector. Robsu looking for a way past as well, he started on those hard tyres as well as Lawrence. Palang saying fastest lap, Mr. J-Man right behind, but here comes Muhiti down the inside, and he's going to make that move well before turn one with the DRS, and official JE has to concede this time. Mr. J-Man still hasn't come in for his drive-through. It's got to be this lap now. He's going to have the DRS on Palang, though. Coming down towards the next corner, Palang's not going to be happy that a driver who's got a drive-through is pressuring him at this point in the race, but that's exactly what Mr. J-Man is doing, trying to maybe slow him down, back him into the pack, or perhaps that's why he's fighting instead of serving the drive-through early, but he's going to use the DRS to get past, and he's ahead of the Aston Martin. Palang nearly goes into the back of him there at turn 8. That was very, very close, but J-Man just about staying in front, but he's got to serve that drive-through this lap. So all filing through the final sector now. Muhiti just ahead of official JE, who's now under pressure from Jack Alaco, who looks to the inside but doesn't make the move. The Alpine driver is struggling a little bit on race pace at this point in the race. Jonathan gets a 3-second time penalty, but that is at least a sign that he is back in the session. Mr. J-Man comes in to serve his drive-through. He's lucky there hasn't been a safety car, and that means Palang now leads the race again as JE under pressure from Jacko at the last corner. Just about staying in front there, but J-Man now going to drop all the way to the back thanks to that drive-through, and he's got to make it work. And drive-through is so much more punishing on this track as well because of how long the pit lane is, agonizingly long. And JE now the next one to get a track limits penalty. It will not be the last, trust me, there's going to be a lot of those today. But it's been fantastic racing so far, really enjoying it. Oh no, that's Jack Alaco into the wall. Jack Alaco spins out at the end of Sector 1. It's another VSC, so Mr. J-Man's come in for his drive-through just in time there. But Jacko's lost his front wing. He spun it on the exit of the first corner of Sector 2. And he's going to be absolutely gutted. He's got to come in for a new front wing. He's going to hope for a safety car now at this stage. New tyres will go on that Williams too. It will probably be the hards, but he's going to be gutted with that one, as now everyone slows down for the Delta. Things maybe calming down a bit at this point. Of course, a safety car would bring everyone back close together again. But I have not forgotten those reports of the heavy rain. I'm assuming it's coming towards the end of the race. The way you said it, I thought that it was going to be throughout. But I think it's going to be coming towards maybe the middle part of the race, towards the end maybe, because I can see that sky's already getting darker as official JE peels into the pits, and Sumo's gotten a drive through. Jonathan, did someone else get a drive through there? Let's see. No, just Sumo. So Sumo, his day has gone from bad to worse. He's gotten a drive through. He's not going to be happy on his stream, but he's got to serve that as soon as possible. Indeed, serves it immediately. Peels into the pits. Official JE and Jacko both coming in for fresh tyres. Jacko for a new front wing, of course, but Official the only one really to do an unplanned pit stop at the VSE. Jacko pitting for the intermediates, so he thinks the rain is coming very, very shortly, but Official JE's pitted for the hards, so he thinks very much otherwise, but that's a massive gamble from Jackalacko. He thinks it's going to start raining imminently, but I don't think this is going to help him because he's still got to drive in these dry conditions for now. It's still not raining at all. Cannot see a drop on the screen. So it's a very bold move from the Scottish driver, but you know, I think he's thought he's already in last. He might as well have a go. No, I think it may well turn out to be the wrong decision. Lap 6 of 27 now. It's a long way to go in this race, but LB has caught up to Palang. Look at this. The race pace of the Alfa Romeo driver looking pretty good at this stage in the race. As he's going to have the DRS, but it was that rain. It is. I finally see the rain. It is now raining. And it looks like it's going to be raining for the rest of the race, given what Wongfi said about heavy rain. Muhiti comes in for the inters already, as does Robsu. Very early stops. Jackalacko's call is maybe not looking so bad at this point now. But Mr. J-Man as well coming in for the inters after his drive-through a few laps ago. But it is still very early to be putting on the inters. It is raining, but it's not greasy on the track yet. It is still slick tyre weather at the moment. I think if it were me, I would have waited one more lap. But those guys taking the initiative, going onto the inters. And everyone else has got to suck it up, including Jonathan, who's doing a great job with no line at the moment in that AlphaTauri. Same with Wongfi. They're both doing a fantastic job. Wongfi keeping well up with Lawrence. But Jonathan on those soft tyres is going to come under a huge pressure from Crozer, who goes down the inside in the McLaren. It's still side by side as they go through. Jonathan braking very, very late, but getting the car stopped. Crozer with a huge snap of oversteer on the exit as he tries to switch back. But thanks to the rain, couldn't get the grip and has to stick behind the AlphaTauri. But that was very, very well defended from Jonathan. We've now got to look towards the front because we've got to see if Palang and or LB are going to come into the pits. Through the final couple corners they come. LB right behind the Aston Martin driver now. As who's going to peel in? It is going to be Palang, but he goes very, very deep on entry. But LB nearly hits the back of him as they brake for the entry line. But they both get away unscathed. Lawrence in as well. Crozer has gotten past Jonathan in the meantime, up to P5. And in for the inters they go. Wongfi has stayed out. That is a terrible decision, I've got to say. Yenta in the chat as well, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly, says Belgium for the win, so also a Ferrari supporter today. But Crozer in for the inters, Jonathan as well, Alex and official JE also in for the intermediate tyres for the moment. And nearly the whole grid, but Wongfi has stayed out. I think he will regret this. It's looking very greasy on the track right now, and he's going to really struggle. DRS is disabled. I think he's waited one lap too long. Everyone else is in. Palang and LB side by side, though. Through Sector 1, very good, close racing. They're still side by side as they go through the rest of the circuit. Palang off the track. through turn 6, and now down towards the next few corners. It's Palang who's just about in front, but LB tries to get the switch back. They're side by side going down towards turn 8. LB gets the better overspeed. Muhiti gets a 3-second time penalty further back, but it's LB on the inside, breaks late for the corner and gets it done. Great move from the double tier 2 champion. And he is into a net P1 in this race once again. On those intermediate tyres, those TT times definitely sandbagging. But Lawrence now, the newest driver to get a track limits penalty, up to 3 seconds, but he's still in P4, and it's definitely looking like those who pitted 1 lap earlier haven't lost as much time as I thought they would. It looks like it's fairly similar between the two strategies in terms of time loss, but official JE is down to P12. After he had to pit for, he pitted for the hards and then came back out on the inters. He must have had damage, I think, because that's the only reason I can think of that he would pit under the VSC, or maybe he was just didn't realize the rain was coming, who knows. But as well, our pole sitter Alex in P10 after his drive through. Mr. J-Man, who was P2 on the grid, in P9, just ahead of the Aston Martin driver. But their races have gone downhill immediately after the drive-thrus they got, and now LB and Palang are the ones at the top, especially LB. Palang getting a penalty, he's falling back from LB. He's not a fan of these greasy conditions, but Lawrence right behind him looking to challenge for a net P3, a net P2, sorry, because Wongfi has still stayed out. Not sure why. Sumo's gone round again. He's really struggling in these conditions, and I think he will continue to for the rest of the race, unfortunately. Lawrence, though, ahead of the Aston Martin. But, I do feel sorry for Sumo. This is a brutal track and brutal conditions for his first race on wheel in Tier 2. I think he'll stick it out, though. He's going to be wanting the practice. But yeah, very unfortunate. Just brutal start to his Tier 2 career. Not in the commentary box with me. But here comes LB on Wongfi. Wongfi still stayed out on those mediums. LB easily getting by. And Lawrence right behind as well should be able to get through fairly easily. Palang as well, got to be careful. Is Wongfi finally in? Yeah, he's finally coming into the pits as Sumo spins again in Sector 1. But I'm not sure why Wongfi stayed out for that long. I'm really not. But in he finally comes, and he's going to drop all the way, I think, behind official JE here. In the pits he is. LB, though, out in front, 1.3 second, 1.4, 1.5 second gap to Lawrence. Gained a lot in turn 2 there. But he's still Lawrence with that 3-second time penalty, as well as Palang and Muhiti. So, I mean, who can call this race at this point? We're only on lap 10 of 27, but even so, all these penalties and all these conditions really causing a lot of trouble for our drivers, as J-Man's in big trouble, and he gets passed by the defending champion of Jonathan, goes down the inside at that corner, and Mr. J-Man, though, fights his way back through. They're still side by side, and now Alex trying to get his way past the AlphaTauri as well. There's a bit of contact between the two. Mr. J-Man desperately trying to find his way by, but Jonathan goes off track to let both of them through. Alex and Mr. J-Man side by side now. As they go through, it's going to be 3 wide as they go down towards turn 8 in the rainy conditions. Who's going to come out in front here? Is this going to end in tears? Jonathan's got the inside line, breaks for the corner, gets it stopped, but Alex sweeps around the outside and gets back past again. Jonathan putting up a huge fight as Mr. J-Man spins around in the background. It's a disaster for him. There was no one anywhere near him. He was just trying to get the best exit he could. That's such a shame for him, but Jonathan stays ahead of the pole sitter. He's doing a fantastic job defending this position in that AlphaTauri, but Alex, surely it's only a matter of time until he gets by as Jonathan goes off track, and here comes Alex around the outside. Jonathan tries to send it to the inside, but spins himself round after contact with the Aston Martin. Wongfi and Jacko fighting as well, just a bit behind them. Jacko on the outside line has to back out, but Wang Fei nearly goes into the back of Official there. It's so close racing between all of these guys, but they're all just about managing to keep it clean. Jonathan may not agree, but I think that was more that he understeered into the Aston Martin than any nefarious incidents there. As they go through Sector 1, these four cars so close together. Mr. J-Man's going to be catching up in no time if they continue battling like this. 4-second gap at the moment. Sumo a long way behind, of course. That's a real shame for him, but like I say, it's, you know, you wouldn't expect someone who's just started getting used to thrive on a track like this, in conditions like this, as Wang Fei just about ahead of his teammate for now, but Jonathan right up there, and Jack Alacco trying to make progress as well in the Williams. Croza's right behind the Alfa Romeo of Robsu as well, and Palang trying to keep the pressure on Lawrence for P2. The Williams driver trying to catch up to LB there at the front. But at the moment it's 1.7 seconds and he's struggling to do so. Muhiti as well, doing well in P4 at the moment, but he's a bit on his own at the moment. Robsu 3 seconds behind, and he's 4 seconds behind Palang himself. But Croza putting all the pressure on this Alfa Romeo. We know how strong Croza was in the wet conditions last season at this track. He was nowhere in the dry all race long, and then at the end when it started to rain, he came alive and weaved through the whole field and won the race in spectacular fashion. As he now puts the pressure on Robsu through turn 2, nearly spins it on the exit though. An Official and Wang Fei side by side now as they go down through the final corner. Is Official on the inside, gets the better exit out that corner, and he should be able to keep the 8th place for now as Wang Fei tries to send it to the inside, misses the apex completely. Or well, goes too far over the apex as now Croza around the outside of Robsu at turn 7. What a move from the McLaren driver. Robsu's going to come back at him though with the ERS use. He sends it down the inside. They're going to be side by side going down towards the corner. Wang Fei and Official side by side further back as well. But Croza sweeps around the outside and keeps the place. Brilliant racing between those two there. And Wang Fei has gotten past Official JE as well. And the Alpine driver under pressure from Jonathan. But they're going to go side by side again down towards turn 7. Look at the straight line speed of the Alpine. Back up to P8 he goes. Wang Fei avoids going into the back of him, thankfully, but this is fantastic. Up and down the grid, there's battles happening everywhere at the moment. And it's great to watch. Wang Fei using the ERS, trying to make another move into this next corner, which is no longer flat out in these conditions, and hits the back of the Alpine, trying to push him through. There's a bit of contact again as he sends it around the outside of the next corner. They're still side by side as they go through still, and as Wang Fei gets a bit of a snap on the exit, but he manages to make the move. But Official is surely going to be right back at him with the straight line speed he's got, but he goes wide at that corner. And now he's got to adjust his line for the next corner and gets himself a penalty in the process. Jonathan around the outside. Palang and Lawrence are fighting as well as Jonathan goes a bit deep into the final corner. Not sure how Official will feel about that, but Jack Alacco just watching and waiting for something to happen. Mr. J-Man surely going to be catching up now as Palang gets past Lawrence near the front, back up to P2. But we've got to keep an eye on these guys because they're still fighting as Jonathan sweeps back around the outside again off the Alpine. But it looks like the straight line speed of Official is absolutely immense, but he's really struggling in the corners. I think maybe he's still got too dry a setup on for these conditions as Jonathan goes very, very deep again. Wang Fei getting a penalty as well further up. And we've got contact further up the grid. Someone's gone round. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Sumo, actually. Who's already been lapped, unfortunately. My heart breaks for him, it really does. But Official now, he's got the ERS, he's got the straight line speed again. Down the inside he goes, but he's going to hit the Jack Alacco off the track, and he's going to feel very bad about that one. Jacko has to take to the escape road, and he's wide on the exit as well, pushing someone off. Jack Lacko gets a penalty. That'll definitely get removed as Jonathan goes across the signpost. I don't think official meant to take him out there, but there's damage to Jonathan's car. He's not going to be happy at all. And yeah, official, I think he's going to be very apologetic about that one, I would assume. Muhiti, though, into the pits. Jacko gets another penalty. It's hard tyres for Muhiti. He thinks it's dried up. It has indeed stopped raining, but is it time for slicks yet? Muhiti's taken the gamble onto the slick tyres. It's all or nothing for him. Official also into the pits for slicks, I assume. Mr. J-Man in. Jonathan staying out with the front wing damage for one more lap. Sumo in as well for the slicks. But who else has gone to the slicks yet? Mediums for J-Man, hards for official JE as well, and a new front wing for the Alpine driver. It's not been the most ideal debut for him, but he's going to get back on track and try and make the best of it. LB still leads this race, though, on those inters. With Palang 1.8 behind Lawrence. Now, has lost time to Palang, who's really gotten used to these conditions now over the last few laps. He's gotten his pace back, and Lawrence is going to have to work hard to keep up with him. Crow's about 7 seconds down the road. Robsu another 3, and then Alex 16 seconds behind Robsu, but he's under pressure from Wongfi now in the AlphaTauri just behind him. This is going to be some great racing once again between these two new drivers to APPF1. Hopefully they can put on a good show for us here as they go through into the final sector now. As that's Lawrence into the pits and Robsu with another track limits penalty. Lawrence thinks it's time for slicks. LB and Palang staying out. Crozer in as well, but he's got an A penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he's going to be gutted with that one because that's a very avoidable error, but it is easier to do in the wet, admittedly. As now Muhiti's under pressure from Jacko. It's DRS enabled, though. It's definitely going to be time for slicks very soon if it's not already. Muhiti on those hard tyres. He's going to stay out to the end. Gets a bit of a snap on the exit of the final corner. Everyone comes into the pits. Where's everyone going to come out here? Alex is now up to P4 as a result, but he's still got to pit onto the slicks as with everyone else. Lawrence, though, 4.5 seconds ahead of him. Muhiti still on those hards, but he's stayed in P6. He pitted 1 lap earlier than everyone else, but look how much time he's lost. He lost about 4 seconds relative to Crozer there, so definitely should have stayed out 1 more lap in the Ferrari. But not too big a deal. He's just got to repass Crozer again now as Wongfi exits in P8. So we've got to expect that Alex would exit in a similar position, but he's, I think, gotten this call wrong. I think the last lap was the one to pit, and he stayed out 1 too many, and LB and Palang could be in the same boat here. LB's up in front on those inters by 2 seconds, but how much time is he going to have lost to the slicks on this last lap? Into the pits he comes, and I was clearly given misinformation about heavy rain because it's gone dry again. This is very, very difficult conditions here, but the driver's doing really well to deal with it as Lawrence comes through the final sector. Where's LB and Palang? LB just coming into the pits for the mediums, and Palang just coming in as well for the same tyres. Exits the pits. Muhiti gets a time penalty. Lawrence is just coming around the final corner. Is he going to be able to overtake them? We'll ride on board with him as he heads towards the start-finish line. Look to the right-hand side of your screen. Where are the cars coming out the pits? There's LB just in front, but he's ahead of Palang, so he has gained some time by pitting 1 lap earlier, but not enough to jump LB, who leads this race once again. And Alex now finally into the pit lane for the slick tyres. The Aston Martin pit crew on double time there. Why is Sumo 2 days behind? He is really struggling on this new wheel, Scott. He's not having a good time. This is probably one of the most brutal tracks in the most brutal possible conditions for someone who's just getting used to wheel to do their first league race in. So I really feel sorry for him, but I'm sure he'll be back next week in better form in Monza, because that's a much easier track. But yeah, he has. He got it last week, so fair play to him. And he's He's having a go in Tier 2 instead of in the comms box for this season. And I do wish him the best. But yeah, this race, I think it's just going to be all about practice for him, this race. Because, well, yeah, he's, like you say, about 2 days behind the rest of the field. LB now leading by 1.8 seconds. It's really calmed down now. No one really within the gap of each other. This is what happens when you have these sorts of conditions, when it's dry and then wet and then dries out again. The whole field sort of spreads out. And yeah, it's a bit of a struggle to get used to and to keep on your opponents, because just one lap difference in pitting and it can change everything. We've all been there. Yeah, we certainly have. What are the penalties looking at? That's a great question, Louis, in the chat. So it's 3 seconds for Lawrence, Palang, Robsu and Wongfi. So Lawrence and Palang in a genuine battle for P2 here. And then 5 seconds for Crozer for pit lane speeding, 6 seconds for Muhiti, and 3 seconds as well for Jackalacco and Sumo at the back. With official JE, he's not had a dream debut at all. Great qualifying from him, but it's all gone wrong in the race. He's got 6 seconds of penalties, and Jonathan, who's still getting used to no line, is on 9 seconds of penalties. But official now with another one, so he's up to 9 seconds as well. But Wongfi, I have to say, doing relatively well with no line. He was doing a lot of complaining before the season start about having to race no line, saying he was going to be 2 seconds off the pace. Well, here he is in P7 having a good time. So he's doing a good job out there. Alex with a fantastic qualifying. Lots of respect, you get a DSQ from penalties without line. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough without line. It really is. But yeah, some of the drivers who are too fast for Tier 2 got told to turn off their line. If they can't race on Fridays in Tier 1, they got told to turn off their line. To race in Tier 2 to make it fair, and that's what they've done, so lots of respect to them. Lawrence has been doing it for many seasons now, and he's just gotten better and better, so it comes with time. It does, but it does also take more time for some than others, I will say. LB now with a 3 second time penalty though. He's 3 seconds in front of the chasing cars. But even so, if there's a safety car now, he's right back on a level playing field with them, and he'll be frustrated with himself for getting that due to that fact. And now he's left the session. Oh no, LB! His Wi-Fi strikes again as Robsu gets past Muhiti further back for P5, but LB's Wi-Fi has struck again, and he's going to lose so much time in these next few corners. Can he get back into the session in good time? It's not going to be in good time enough to retain the lead, but he's going to have to work hard again now. Jonathan with another penalty at the back. But Lawrence and Palang now with the best chance that they've got so far this race to have a go for this race win. Lawrence is going to get the DRS as well, maybe as a little bonus. There's the DRS line. No, he didn't quite get it, so he's going to be under pressure from Palang down towards turn 1 now. Can Palang make the move? He set the fastest lap on those medium tyres. He's not going to make the move into turn 1 though. A much more careful racer than he used to be, Palang. And so now Robsu setting the fastest lap, and I think they're going to keep coming, those purple lap times at the top of your screen. I'm just going to quickly chuck LB another invite. Sorry to blue screen you all. There we go. But Palang getting past his ghosted AI. That's so gutting. That's so gutting for him. But yeah, this was the story of his season a couple seasons ago. Just disconnecting pretty much every race, and this one no different, unfortunately, it looks like. And well, he would only drop to P6. I don't think he would drop as far as Wongfi unless there was a safety car. But his AI is going to try and do a job to keep him in this race here. He's back in the session though, so he's going to have a chance to fight back and win this race, but he's got a lot more work to do than he did before, and now he's got that 3-second penalty, so he's going to be even more frustrated with himself that he got those penalty as well. That he got that penalty as well. Because it's made this disconnect all the more punishing. RIP to those without an Ethernet cable. Well, yeah, Ethernet cables do help, but sometimes even those don't work. Like my PS5 sometimes just says the Ethernet cable is disconnected and then reconnected immediately afterwards, but it kicks me out from any online game I'm in when that happens immediately, so it's very annoying. But Palang right behind Lawrence here, but not able to make the move. Looks like Lawrence has got a decent top speed setup on his car, and Palang struggling to get by, but this is a battle for the lead. LB is back in his car, so he's going to chase after them, but he's still on the podium, so he'll still have that at least. But now Palang really putting the pressure on Lawrence for this race win. Palang really has come out of nowhere in this first race. Last season, he had good pace, but he just wasn't consistent enough in the races. But here he is, about to take P1 on track. Palang retakes the lead of the race. Jakalakos, that's the fastest lap now in P10. He's flying at the moment to try and get himself up more positions. But Palang retaking the lead from Lawrence, but I doubt this battle is going to be over yet. We've got Sumo round again in sector 1. He's really having a bad time out of turn 2. I think that's his third spin there today. But it's all good practice for him, and I'm sure that's going to be his philosophy, even if he is probably using some choice words on his stream. Jonathan with another penalty, that's him up to 12 seconds. So he's had a good race today. He just hasn't had the pace in this last stint, but he's had some really good battles today. So I hope he's at least had fun, even if he is down in P12 with 12 seconds of penalties. But he'll only get better, and like I said, this is a very, very tough track with no line. But it looks like Palang has set the fastest lap of the race, and he's gotten Lawrence out of DRS range as well. And Lawrence has got himself another penalty trying to catch up. So Palang in prime position to win the opening race of the Tier 2 season. It's lap 21 of 27. But he is flying in that Aston Martin right now. LB is gone so unlucky, but he's going to try and catch them here. He's got 3 seconds to catch Lawrence, and then another 1.2 or so to catch Palang at the moment. But of course, that's going to go up and up, because Lawrence doesn't look like he's got the race pace to keep up with the Aston Martin driver. Got Robsu Muhiti still close together as well. I'm going to leave the penalties on screen, because I think that's the most important bit of information at the moment. Official JE is retired in the pit lane by the looks of it. I'm not sure why that is. Hopefully he's all right, but yeah, in the pits, and that's not the ideal debut for the Alpine driver, unfortunately. Yeah, hopefully he'll be back next week. And yeah, like I say, tough track today. Palang, though, leading this race by 1.8 seconds, but LB is catching fast up to the Williams of Jonathan, 2.2 seconds now, and he's going to be hunting down Palang for that race win that he's going to feel like he deserves. J-Man right behind Jack Alacco as well in the battle for P9. It's points across the board in APPF1. For the top 15 get points in APP, but obviously when there's only 14 drivers in the lobby, as long as you finish, you're going to get some points on the board. But maybe that's why Official retired as well. Maybe he doesn't know that. But here's Muhiti just behind Robsu now, but not able to make a move into turn 1. That would be fairly reckless of the Ferrari driver if he went for it there. And through sector 1 they go. This is the only battle on track at the moment, as well as Jacko and Mr. J-Man. But Jacko with the 3-second penalty, meaning that J-Man just has to stay with him, and he will secure that 9th place finish. And Alex trying to catch up to Wong Fi as well. I'm pretty sure that gap has come down, and it's only got to come down by another 2.5 seconds for him to gain another position out of this, but he's still going to be very disappointed with how this race has transpired today. That drive-through costing him so much in the early stages after that early VSC. Same with Mr. J-Man as well. They're both going to think this is a race that could have been. but they're going to have to just pick themselves up and come back next week knowing they have some good pace this season. But now Muhiti again putting this pressure on the Alfa Romeo of Robsu, but the Ferrari driver with 9 seconds of penalties to Robsu's 3. So it's advantage to the Finnish driver. He's just got to stick with Muhiti, and he will still finish ahead of him, Sumo, with another penalty at the back. But he's only, to be fair to him, he's only got 6 seconds. That's not too bad. Wangfi's up to 6 seconds now as well, so that is good news for Alex, who is now in position to overtake him after penalties. But Muhiti has gotten his way past Robsu down the inside into turn 1. A great move from the Ferrari driver, but he's got no ERS left. Lawrence with 9 seconds of penalties now, and he gets passed by LB as well. Is he going to have the DRS though? Yes, he is, and LB is going to come under pressure again down towards turn 8. Lawrence down the inside and retakes the place up to P2, but of course he's got 9 seconds of penalties, so he'll drop behind anyway. But as long as they fight, it's good news for Palang, who still leads this race, and Robsu gets back past Muhiti in the meantime in the DRS zone, and LB and Lawrence swap positions again further ahead. LB back up to P2, and now 3.5 seconds is the gap to Palang. That's what he's got to chase down in these remaining 4.5 laps. As Muhiti, I think, had a bit of a moment there that I didn't quite catch outside on the exit of, I think it was turn 10. So he's now well behind Robsu and out of DRS range as well. So I think that is definitely game over for that position. It's Wangfi trying to re-extend that 6-second margin to Alex, who's now struggling to stay within those 6 seconds. 5.8 it is. Sumo around again in sector 2, unfortunately. But Mr. J-Man still right behind the Williams of Jakalaka, who's putting up a staunch defence at the moment from the Ferrari driver, who's trying to recover after his fantastic quali was ruined on lap 2. So around the final corner he goes. It's going to be DRS open to turn 1. But he's not close enough again to make the move on Jacko, who is holding firm at the moment in that Williams. But of course, if it does finish like this, it's not going to matter. That penalty will drop him behind Mr. J-Man anyway. LB is catching Palang though, 3.2 seconds between the two of them, and I think he's going to feel like he can push on for this race win, but there's not a lot of time left to go. 3.5 laps left in this Grand Prix. It's been a great season opener, full of drama, I have to say, and it's full of surprises as well, and also some fantastic racing up and down the grid. It's all about who's going to get that race win and who's going to get on the podium at the moment. Palang is 3 seconds ahead of LB. We're going on to lap 25 of 27. 3 laps to go. And Palang has just got to hold on for a little bit longer from LB, who's going to feel robbed here. He really is. He was flying at the front, and then the disconnection. He got back in the session in time to get back in his car, and he's gotten another penalty, and that could be game over for his race win. Palang just has to keep it on track now. Crozer gets a penalty further back as well in the McLaren. We've got a spinner further ahead. Is that Sumo again? No, it's not. It's someone else. I'm not sure who spun there. Was it Robsu maybe? Because he's back behind Muhiti now. But no, it was Palang! It was Palang who had a spin at the front of the field. And now LB's taken advantage and he retakes the lead of the race on track. This is not over yet. Palang right behind the Alfa Romeo. Lap 25 of 27, 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Can he stay within 3 seconds of the flying Alfa Romeo driver? Jakalako gets another penalty as well. That's definitely now game over for him to stay ahead of Mr. J-Man after all is said and done. Muhiti putting pressure on Robsu again. He's caught back up, but again the penalties are his undoing. So many track limits penalties on this track today that it's not surprising at Paul Ricard at all. Muhiti through the final few corners. Robsu a bit of a squirm on the exit, and Muhiti riding the curb, nearly getting a track limits warning, but I think he just about got away with that. As we go down towards the final corner, Ferrari driver right behind, but unable to make a move at this time. 2 laps to go. Palang just behind LB, but he's already built up a 1-second gap, has the Alfa Romeo driver, as Muhiti sends it down the inside of Robsu. There's contact as Robsu turns for the apex, but only finds a Scarlet Ferrari car parked on it. But I don't think he's gotten any damage from that, as finally Mr. J-Man gets past Jacko, who's come into the pits, in fact, for some soft tyres, presumably to go for the fastest lap. As he thought he's going to finish P10 anyway, he might as well go for the fastest lap to get that extra point. Robsu right behind Muhiti again. He's got the DRS. Jonathan with several time penalties there as he goes into the pits for the same reason, to try and get the fastest lap. But Robsu retakes P5 on track, and he's going to hope for no more contact between the two, because as it stands, it doesn't really matter who finishes ahead of the other. It's going to be Robsu who finishes P5 anyway, as Muhiti looks to the inside but doesn't go for it. My comments have glitched out on my screen, so let me just get on my phone. Okay, there we go. Muhiti still putting the pressure on, but it's Palang who's trying to get this race win. He's 1.6 seconds behind LB. He's just got to stay within 3 seconds of him to win the race, but it could be easier said than done. LB's been flying this race. He nearly got pole position. Palang was also right up there in quali, but LB's race pace has been untouched today, and only that disconnection could rob him of this race win, but he's trying to get it anyway, as now Robsu and Muhiti side by side again into turn 1. Robsu this time doesn't turn in for the apex, and they get through cleanly. Muhiti back ahead, but this is great fighting between the two, even if it is ultimately for nothing because of the track limits penalties. But Palang 2 seconds behind LB now, just 1.5 sectors to go, half a track left. He's going to not lose 9/10 in that time, but LB looks like he's made a mistake through that corner, but maybe just a different line. I think that's more likely, as Robsu gets back past Muhiti in the DRS zone once again and up to P5. I think he's going to finish there on track as well. But Palang through the final sector they go, 2.1 seconds. Palang is just going to make sure he doesn't make another error. Muhiti up to 12 seconds of penalties, could be under pressure from Wangfi now as well. And Alex has fallen out of the 6-second range of the AlphaTauri driver, so he will finish P8. But it's Palang who's coming through. LB round the final couple of corners. He's got no ERS left, but he's got those 6 seconds of penalties. He's going to feel like he's been robbed of this one. He's going to straight line it to the line as fast as he can, but it's going to be a win on track. But Palang is going to win the French Grand Prix. Lawrence retires from the session just before the line. Did he retire before the line? Wait, what? No, he definitely retired after the line, so he will get classified P3. Don't worry, Lawrence, if you're watching. You will get classified P3. Just a bug. Robsu finishes P5 ahead of Muhiti in the end. Wangfi is going to finish in P7. Mr. J-Man not close enough to the AlphaTauri. Wait, what happened to Alex? What's happened to Alex? He must have had a spin on the final lap, because he's lost out to Mr. J-Man in the end, who's going to finish P8. Alex in P9. Jack Alacco is going to come across the line in P10 for Williams, with his teammate in 3rd place on the podium. And Jonathan's going to be a long way behind, but is Jacko going to nab the fastest lap? Across the line he goes. Yes, a 32.4. Can Jonathan beat it? That's the last thing to sort out today. He's coming through the final sector now. It's a 32.4 to beat. There it is on the screen, but Jonathan goes so wide there to try and get as much time as he can. I'm not sure how legal that's going to be if he does get the fastest lap. Around the final couple of corners comes the reigning champ, gets another track limits penalty, and gets a bit of a poor exit as a result. Is it still going to be the fastest lap for him? I think so. It's going to be close. He gets it by a 10th, but we'll have to see how legitimate that's going to be seen by the admins. But wow, what a race that was. for the season opener here in France. Wow. Right, so interviews. Palang, LB, and Lawrence. Feel free to join for interviews. Let me get into the lobby, into the party rather. There we go. Right, so it is Palang. It is Palang who wins the French Grand Prix. From LB at 1/100th of a second. He said he ran out of fuel at the end, but I didn't realize it was that close. LB finishes P2, and it's going to be Lawrence on the podium. But wow, a lot of comments on the stream. The worst race he's ever seen. What do you mean? What do you mean? That was a great race from my point of view. Jacalaco's not happy. Looks like LB is going to be the only one joining us for interviews, and he's here right now. So LB, well, what a race from your end. You had some fantastic race pace there, but all came undone with the disconnection. But even so, only missing out by 1/100th of a second. How was that for you?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I'm just fuming at that. I can't believe that. I can't believe it. It's so irritating because when I came back off the game, everything else was connected to the internet. So it's got to be the game. There's nothing else that's disconnected. No one else has had connection issues. So yeah, just really frustrating. But I think I did well to crawl back and get within that time second for Palang and Lawrence.
Yeah, you absolutely did. And, well, I mean, your pace today was quite a surprise, considering the sign-up times that you posted. So what was the secret today? Is it a lot of practice? Well, it can't have been because we picked this track late. So what was the secret today?
To be honest with you, as soon as I saw the track change, I thought, okay, I've only done a few laps on this for that time trial. Went on your setup and found it was too focused on straight line and I was just spinning off. Then tried JB setup and I don't know, it's like Austria when I did Austria, and the setup and car just joined together and it just felt good. The wet didn't even feel too bad at all, to be honest with you. I felt quite good in the wet and I was gaining time on pretty much everyone, so I don't know, maybe the wet's not something to be scared of this season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of drivers put in a great performance in the wet today, I have to say. And then sort of the second stint, when it got dry again, everyone seemed to struggle a lot more, ironically. But, I mean, second place for the first race, I mean, you're going to, of course, feel robbed by that. But still a great performance from you, showing great pace. Next week is Monza. How do you think you're going to do there?
Not done a lot of Monza. I think Monza can just be whether you get stuck in a DRS train or not. So hopefully I'll just try and avoid it and just get clear. But I don't know. I don't know if this is a fluke. I don't know anything. I just know that today was annoying, but as good as it can be. I wasn't expecting to be in the top 5, so really at the end of the day to be second isn't too bad, but just would have preferred that race win because it was right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And to only miss out on by 1/100th of a second in the end. Yeah, got to be frustrating. But even so, fantastic performance from you, so well done, and looking forward to see what you can do next week.
Thank you very much, my friend. Have a good one.
And you. Well, my dog's very excited for the end of the race, as you can hear. But thank you all very much for watching. It's been a fantastic race to start off Season 9 of APPF1 Tier 2. And I, for one, am very much looking forward to Monza, and I hope Sumo can do a lot better in Monza as well on his wheel. But I'm sure he'll get a lot better as the weeks go on. But yeah, no problem, Jonathan, at all. And mate, honestly, like this track, probably one of the worst for track limit for no line if you're just starting to get used to it. I feel like Wongfi did a great job with no line, the way he was driving today. But no, it's a tough one, and you were doing really well in the wet. You were fighting hard and doing very well. And kept it all on track. Yeah, you were better in the rain. Exactly. You're doing a really good job. So, keep your head up. This is a tough track, and you'll be much better in Monza, trust me. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I have been Ghost. Feels weird to say that on a tier 2 stream without Sumo here, but it's great to see him on track. I'm not going to lie, it really is. I'm sure he'll be back in Monza. But yeah, have a great rest of your week, everyone. And goodbye.